Beloved star, hello, welcome to Elven Pod, Immortal Star Pod, episode 40. Can't believe we've made it to 40. That is so cool. And this one is a continuum of the Shamanic series of podcasts that I'm doing. And as I shared in the last one, there have been two already. If you want to look back, the last two have been very much shamanically themed, and at this time of autumn equinox, which we are entering that portal, that gateway, as it occurs this time around in the early hours of the morning, well, about 8 o'clock in the morning on the 23rd, I believe, here in the UK. That's where we'll be experiencing that from. But the energetic portal of equinox, it feels as though we're very much entering. Maybe we'll ever deepen into that gateway, into that stargate. And the energies of the autumnal equinox do feel so earthen, so earthy, which is so much a quality of the shamanic way. And so it feels really gorgeous to share about that at the moment with these first energies of autumn coming. And there have been rumbles of thunder in the sky today. There's been a little of everything, the most beautiful sunshine and the stillness, the wind stopping after the last 2 days, the great blue cedar glowing in the garden out here. And then the rains falling, the thunder, the clouds, half and half in a sky of blue. So a little of everything, and so much that presence of the elements and that sense of earth in her many moods. And for part of my soul language, always in the language of nature, the thing that's most moved me has been something, it's very small and very simple, but it's the falling leaf. Has always, even before my awakening, it would open the gateways of consciousness within. I would feel connected to something so much greater. An actual falling leaf, or imagining a falling leaf, even just opens somehow the interdimensional corridors of that divine flow of inspiration, of Arwen within. And what drew me to shamanism, I wanted to speak of two of the qualities that most summoned and just, oh my gosh, brought my soul such a sense of homecoming and joy and simplicity. When you have that immediacy with something, you know it's part of your soul light and your lineage. And when things aren't, it's as though they might feel wonderful, but they form a layer. They leave us with this layer. And I think those things that belong to our lineage of light within, that which really carries us most directly to our divine and I am presence, yeah, they might be full of form. I mean, shamanism is, but because it's part of my soul lineage, it doesn't feel like that ever gets in the way of the pathway of remembrance of my own divine nature and who I am. It's as though instead it forms a canoe, a conduit that guides me straight back. It's translucent or transparent, if you like. And while there are many other, I could read of many other traditions and ways that hold, oh my gosh, infinitely that wisdom just so beautifully, but somehow it's as though if I draw them in around me, I suddenly feel I'm cluttered and heavy, as though I'm carrying stuff. And so it's yeah, so that is a note on, so whether this for you as you listen, I guess, whether shamanism for you is one a part of your light lineage and calls to you at a very direct and immediate level, or whether it's an extra layer and perhaps you listen out of curiosity, but ultimately for you it's something that, yeah, it comes and goes, if you like, on the wind. It's not part of your direct path. Honoring all. And these two qualities, though, that drew me so, one I will call the onion, and the other I will call the individual, if you like, the onion and the individual. That sense that shamanism holds of the interwoven worlds, like the layers of the onion, that we are at once in heaven and earth, all at once. The worlds are interwoven. We are walking quantum interdimensional threads of the etheric, of the divine light, of our nature beyond this physical universe, all at once with the physical earth and her body of matter. The worlds are woven as one. We are out there and here all at once. And my beautiful shamanic teacher, Nancy Dancing Light, and her husband, incredible, wise soul, also shamanic soul, David, spoke of there's so much to me in my time with them in Canada. When I've spoken of this before, I went with my son, who was about 1.5, 2 years old, and I thought I would be spending hours training with Nancy in deep shamanic altered states, and I longed for that. But actually my son during that time didn't want to be apart from me. He wouldn't be looked after anyone else for any hours of training. So actually I spent a month with them, pretty much at the kitchen table, talking, sharing life. I'd be washing my nappies out the back and hanging them out to dry, and being with my son and having meals with them, preparing food, going to do the laundry in the local town, and the conversations that unfolded through all of that. And what David said to me so beautifully, he said the ceremony is very powerful, and it's for those moments when we really want to need to remind ourselves and to call ourselves back to the divine reality. But the truth is we're in it all the time. It's always unfolding. And for the shaman, ultimately, they're always, if you like, in that ceremony of light. It's always an unfoldment. And so it was a literal teaching of that. The experience was the part of me that was very attached to ceremony and being in the beauty of the ceremonial form of the altered space, and still held a separation between that and the shape of my life. And so it was a very profound teaching for that month to be with them in that way. But even before that, I came across shamanism before I met them. That was the core foundational understanding that really drew me. I knew then that made absolute sense to my soul at every level. It is all one. And that while we may not experience them all of the time, we are walking, even as we are upon the physical earth, in worlds of light far beyond that. The worlds are one. And so this I call the onion, because I think many have spoken of that way, and certainly I remember Nancy speaking it to me as the layers of the onion. And in a sense, as the shaman, the real art is keeping one foot here, if you like, in the physical reality, and one foot in the other world, walking both at once. And as those abilities to be in those layers of light evolve, it can be a real relearning to learn how to be with that foot in the physical world again, and to actually allow both parts of your consciousness to function together. That is an evolvement of the being continuously. And for me, that describes ascension. That's, that ascension of the earth, that we've been locked in a paradigm and an experience of earth, both collectively, but through the collective vibrational field of a creation that has literally resulted in a physical experience of matter, of earth, that is locked away from the realm of spirit, that is locked away from the realm of heaven, if you like. And that our ascension is into a higher dimensional earth, into a shimmering earth. Another beautiful expression from my shamanic teacher, Chris Luttichai, in his book, Calling Us Home. But the shimmering earth, that we experience once again an earth, a higher dimensional earth, vibrating at a higher frequency, where once again we experience this earth. Heaven and earth are one. And that the worlds are not separate. And so, if you like, it feels to me shamanism, through an era of separation and forgetfulness, has always offered the pathways and the tools for individuals and communities to cross over into that state and that consciousness again, to maintain that, and to choose that even in an era of separation, because that new earth, as we call it, that mystic earth, that shimmering earth, has never stopped existing. As I perceive it, it always has, and many other stories of the old ones actually crossing over to that higher dimensional earth, choosing when they wish to physically translocate to that parallel earth experience. And collectively, that is now what is available. collectively that we make this transition. We have, many of us, and then our consciousness catches up to that fully, whatever degree of integration of our conscious experience with that, but to walk upon that shimmering, that higher vibrational earth once more. And so for me, in a sense, shamanism has offered a more individual, or say tribal level version of that experience. And now our collective ascension offers that to us as a collective return, and is part of what cosmically we are all enacting and being called into. So for me, that's why the tools of shamanism held through the last era are so incredible for those with whom they resonate as tools for ascension, because it's an ascension that has always been happening, always been happening. So that's the first part. And again, this will be a shorter pod today, just as I synchronize back in, and I'm still starting all of my writing programs, and it's the beginning of the Elven teaching term, if you like. So I have much happening at the moment, and I'm also looking after my father. So this shorter pod, but I think they're quite beautiful. They suit the shamanic theme of that earthenness and that grounding. That I spoke of the onion, but also of the individual. And in a shamanic community, and I realize I haven't spoken so much of the shaman and the definition of the shaman as such in its fullness through this sequence of pods. I will explore that. But in this moment, what I will say is that while, say, in a shamanic community, there is the shaman who, yes, it is their special gift. They're a special gift to commune with those invisible layers of reality and bring those gifts for the community. That a shaman did not exist as the singular sort of model of shamanic consciousness. The whole community existed within that model of consciousness. It was understood that we as human beings are inherently shamanic. We are born with a foot in both worlds, that we come from beyond. We bring gifts from beyond, and that to some degree or other, and indeed in slightly different ways, all would have that shamanic gift of consciousness, of direct connection, direct revelation with those invisible layers of reality of our divine nature, of vision, of guidance from spirit, from our spirit guides, from our higher self. That was a way of being, and that it was absolutely each one of us and of our community in relation to us a sovereign and sacred responsibility to bring forth the divine knowing and the gifts that we brought from beyond. That the individual and their sacred nature and their own direct seeing and remembering of who they are was held with greatest respect. You did not question someone else's visions. You did not question their relationship to spirit, the divine insight and guidance they were receiving. That the individual source connection was profoundly respected, and that each one would bring their visions, bring their connection through into the community, and be listened to, be heard, be witnessed. And so there was a kind of sacred boundary, if you like, and a spirit of individualism, we could say, in the inherent spiritual construct of the shamanic model. And this I really love, and I feel again this bears a deep relationship to our age of Aquarius, if you like, that is dawning. Our age, as the Elven call this, Elashima, the age that is come, our ascension into a new era of light. For it is founded in the return of the individual unto themselves, that each one of us remembers who we are. The construct based on us not knowing who we are and functioning out in that experience of not knowing who we are is less and less supported energetically, cosmically, vibrationally, because it's becoming more and more impossible for any of us to uphold. But that expression of who we truly are, for each one of us to remember that, it is that Aquarian age, that age of the individual. It is seeded from there, from the star seed of the individual, each one of us remembering who we are and bringing forth our sacred gift, remembering what we bring to earth. And equally that our knowing of ourselves, our direct source connection, being deeply respected in our communal spirit and way of being with one another. and that it's by this that that greater web of wholeness is restored. For I think I wrote it here, it's in the octave we're moving into, that, just coming to the words again, yeah, it is only that which is in its sovereign crystalline expression, its true self, that can exist. We can't exist at that vibration in anything other than our sovereign and crystalline vibration. And by that, we come into that place in the divine web of life that we hold. We come into that place which is our spot, if you like, of interconnection in that great web of life, that web of interconnection. And that brings us right back to the onion, but from another point of view. The onion, we look at how all the layers are interdimensionally, simultaneously present at all times. Whether we are speaking of time and space and its non-linearity, or we're speaking of the layers of spirit and matter, of the etheric and the physical, it's simultaneous, but equally the correspondent aspect to that and perception is it is all connected. We are all connected. And so that is the other beautiful, beautiful teaching that resounds at the heart of the shamanic way. We are all connected, and at the heart of ascension also. It is the reunion of realms. It is the return to that state of profound interconnection once more. All connected, all the layers, all connected, that profound divine quantum state. And so, having shared that, I will close this pod. This is the time for this, and I will flow on to my teaching space that I'm holding now. But I so hope that, yeah, this has been of value or inspiration or of interest for you. And yeah, to share this part of my own understanding of the shamanic way. And gorgeous if you feel like, if you're on the YouTube, I haven't got a way of doing it on the pod actually. I'd love to make comments available, but it's so lovely to hear from you on the YouTube channel, the comments. Absolutely loving the conversations there, and I will get better at responding. I'm synchronizing the layers of my being, and I always see them, and I've been managing to love them, the comments, which I really do. And yeah, to hear the sacred perspectives of our beautiful community of light, as we come aglow together, one to another. So yeah, moving into this state of interconnection. And yeah, equally, if you'd love to write a review on the Spotify or the iTunes, and so forth, so welcome. It's so beautiful. I'd love this pod to blossom forth if it's of value to you and you're loving it for its light, and to hear that, to know that would be absolutely amazing. So with all blessings of Elven Pod, Immortal Starlight Pod episode 40, and I can't wait to share with you the next shamanic key. As I shared in the last one, I wrote 30,000 words. No, that's not true. That's not true at all. I'll take that back. I wrote 3,000 words. For some reason, part of my psyche feels that was like 30,000. It feels very, very rich. And I'm spacing that out over several pods, a little sequence where I can share with you some of the keys of the shamanic way that I feel are so valuable to our ascension at this time. With infinite starlight love from my heart to yours, farewell for now.